Hi, Erica Robinson, back again from In the Company of Cards. Welcome or welcome back. Um, there are many, many new subscribers since the last time I was with you, and I really appreciate it. I'm kind of um, stunned by the reception, delighted, gratified, all of that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Uh, if you're not subscribed, please, I'd love it if you would. I'd love it if you'd share the video. And I am with you um, for the foreseeable future. I'm loving this, and I'm glad that you're loving what I'm doing. All right. For those of you who are new or don't know, I am the author of the deck, Erica's Lenormand of Hope. It's the cards that I use here for these readings. And I'm also the author of The Language of Lenormand, which teaches you how to read the system that I read. If you go to the more button on the video, you can see how to get access to the deck or the book. I have a course that you can take, which is an evergreen course that you can take on your own time. So that's there as well. And also there's a link to my Substack. Once a week, I do write and basically do the same kind of thing that I do here, except it's a little more poetic, we'll call it. Um, I am still open for private readings. Just send me an email and to in the company of cards at Gmail, and we can see what we can do. Okay, so there are a bunch of issues that I'd like to look at today. Uh, so in no particular order, they are all of them election related, um, sort of. So the first one is to do with the Arizona race. Arizona, as we know, is a very pivotal state, a swing state, as they say. And it is for the Senate, of course. And the race is between Republican Carrie Lake, who's a nut job, and Ruben Gallego. So what brings this particular race to my attention right now is the fact that Carrie Lake has made much of the fact that Gallego and his wife were in divorce proceedings, and she speculated as to what that was all about. As of, I guess, yesterday or today, I don't know, the divorce filing has been unsealed. And we see that the divorce was amicable. In Arizona, both parties have to indicate whether there was any sort of spousal abuse involved. There is no indication of any such thing. Um, both parties have indicated that they believe the other one to be a caring, loving, concerned parent to the child that they share. So basically, Carrie Lake's mud was, you know, mud. It was nothing. Um, at any rate, that race is getting closer and closer. It would be amazing if we could win Arizona. So I'm going to just use our trusty letter card. You see that on my wall over there. We're going to use the letter card and we're going to look at the Arizona race. Okay. So I shuffle. I like to show you what I do, how I get the cards, how the cards are selected. So Uh, I'm just cutting the deck into three and and checking the bottom to see if it's the card that I'm looking for, which it's not. We're looking for the letter. Okay. So, oh, upside down. Okay. And this will stand for the Arizona race. Oh, card's upside down too. Lenormand is never read in reversal, just so you know. Um, so anytime I see an upside down card, I flip it right side up. Okay, here we go. So this will stand for the Arizona race. And I'm putting the two cards to the left. And then I have cards in my hand still, so I'm putting those to the right. Um, we have the older man, the clouds, the letter, the mountain, and the scythe. Okay. Now, what I was looking at is the Senate race. I mean, that's what I intended to look at. And it seems to me that these cards are telling me something about the national race. Um, so we've got the older man, the clouds, the letter, the mountain, and the scythe. And I think what I'm going to do, because I think this is talking about not the Senate race. What I'm going to do, I mean, obviously, I have the presidential race on my mind 24/7. So maybe that was what seeped in. Um, hmm. Okay. If this is 45, which I think it is, his increasing cloudiness, which feels like it resembles dementia, entertainment purposes only YouTube, will have an effect on the vote. And it could even affect the Senate vote. It could affect the Lake Gallego race. That said, I think with the last two cards, we have the mountain and we have the scythe. Uh, this is probably going to be one of the states that doesn't certify right away, or, and that will have to be cut through in order for us to know who won the state um, for the presidential race. Now, I pulled cards on the scythe. I pulled clarifiers. So I have the key, the book, and the heart. And I think that that's saying that when I mirror the man and the heart, I think Arizona will go for 45 in the end. Um, but what I really am interested in is the Senate race. Uh, so, sometimes this happens, rarely, but sometimes it does. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the cards back. Notice how I shuffle them back in like this. Everything I do is with such great intentionality. I never bridge shuffle or anything like that. First of all, it's not good for the cards. And second of all, it just lacks intention. So I am asking the universe about the Gallego Lake race. And I'm going to do it differently so that Spirit gets the message that that's what I'm asking about right now. And I'm going to pull three cards for Lake and three cards for Gallego, and we'll see what those look like. Okay. So these cards are for Carrie Lake. See how I'm sort of shuffling each time? And these cards are for Gallego, the Democrat. And what we're going to do is just to look to see which cards look better for which candidate. Okay. So for Lake, we have the snake, the clouds, and the fish. She's gotten kind of pummeled recently in interviews where she just sounds kind of like she doesn't know what she's talking about, like she's confused, and that's been problematic for her. She's also very emotional, we'll just say, which doesn't make her seem like a stable genius any more than the stable genius in chief sounds like a stable genius. These are not good cards for Carrie Lake. Gallegos cards are interesting. We have the dog, we have the book, and we have the bear. Um, the dog is compared to Carrie Lake's snake. The dog is trustworthy. So Gallego is more trustworthy than Carrie Lake for the people of Arizona. Um, Compared to Carrie Lake's clouds, we have the book. And that's interesting because even though clouds are just sort of, muddled thinking, that's Lake. Gallego's card is the book, and the book is about things we don't know. So in some ways, it's not really much better than the clouds. So that one's a draw, even though the first pair is very clear. And then we have Carrie Lake's fish, her emotionalism, and we have Gallego's bear. And I'm going to say that the bear trumps the fish. I think Gallego will win over Carrie Lake. All right, that's one question done and dusted. Again, I suspect Arizona, in terms of the presidential race, will go for 45. Yeah, 45. But I think that the Senate seat will go to Ruben Gallego. Okay. This next question was a viewer question, and I thought it was kind of interesting in a kind of a almost kind of tabloidy way, but that's okay. Um, so if you saw the interview between on Fox between Brett Baier, well, interviewing Harris, you saw Brett Baier play a clip of 45, and um, Harris took exception to the clip and said, that clip does not speak to what we're talking about here, and what they were talking about is 45's insistence that the blue team are enemies of the state. And Baier played a different clip. Well, later on Fox, Baier said, I messed up. Oops, I played the wrong clip. Now, the viewer who asked me to look at this wanted to know, why did he apologize? Now, I mean, on the face of it, we could be nice and say he apologized because, in fact, he made a mistake and he played the wrong clip. We could just take it at face value. But you know, the climate, the zeitgeist is such that you really can't take much at face value. So was there some other reason why he fell on his sword and said, yeah, Harris was right. I picked the wrong clip. So why did he say that? So let's look for Baier. We'll use the older man for that. I mean, he's not old, but he's not young either. So we're going to use the older man. Um, and we want to know, why did Brett Baier admit to using selecting the wrong clip in the Harris interview? Why did he do that? Okay. So again, we're looking for the older man, and that's going to stand for Brett Baier. And we're looking at his motivation for the mea culpa. Gosh, again, upside down. Okay. Okay, so this is going to stand for Brett Baier. And I'm putting the two cards that came before and the two cards that come after. Okay. The ship, the clouds, Brett Baier, the moon, the snake. I don't even need to clarify. So let me tell you the cards again. The ship, the clouds, Brett Baier, the moon, and the snake. I know exactly what happened. So here's Brett Baier, and the interview was kind of a last minute thing, right? I mean, this was not planned months in advance. So I think he was in a hurry to move forward with it. And I think he got confused. I really do think it, that he told the truth. It was a legitimate mix-up. It was the wrong tape, and it was not on purpose, I don't think. Now, I say that though, here's Brett Baier in the middle, but now I don't know. Wait, so we have the moon and we have the snake. Interesting cards. This is his reputation. This is his reputation. And moving forward, he does not want his reputation to be poisoned, to be strangled, to be destroyed, right? Like, in other words, if he did it on purpose, I mean, the red team wouldn't have a problem with that. Obviously, the blue team would have a problem with that. And Harris all but implied, what you did there was shady, because that's not what we were talking about that clip. He says now it wasn't shady, it was a mistake. Now, why would he care about how the blue team feels about his reputation? I think it's because he sees the lay of the land. I think that he realizes that Harris has 45 dead to rights and that she will win. And I think this was a gesture of goodwill. I you know, I, I think that I think if she had done poorly in the interview and had not held her own, I think he probably would not have apologized. Uh, he would have taken ownership over whatever he did with that clip. But I think he sees the lay of the land. And it's sort of like, hedging your bets. You don't want to bet on the wrong horse. He's not going to come out and say, rah, rah, Harris, or rah, rah, Kamala. He's not going to do that. But he is going to, I think it was a goodwill gesture meant for her to remember so that uh, she will think better of him in the end when she's president than she might otherwise. That's what I think. Hmm, interesting. Okay. Now, a couple more questions. Let's see. Um, so today's a big day. I mean, I woke up at like 4:30 in the morning, couldn't sleep. Because, I'm 3 hours earlier than the East Coast because I'm on the West Coast. And I know that Judge Chutkin has said that today she would unseal the full findings of Jack Smith. So, Jack Smith wrote that abbreviated 60-something page memo, but there's all kinds of evidence in there that was not obviously in that 65-page memo. Well, Judge Chutkin has said that today is the release day for that. 45 missed a filing deadline to ask her to stay the disclosure, and then wrote a letter was written. It's like a one-page thing, and Chutkin blew out of the water all of the reasons that he gave for why these documents and this evidence should not come to light until after the election. She said, no, that's bogus. That's not how the system works. He is horrified, terrified. This is one more thing, to make him crazy. And I would like to know and nobody's, I guess she hasn't released them yet, but, today's the day. And Friday is often a news dump day, if you didn't notice. Once all that information is released, of course, the media will want to peruse it, right? So that they can then explain it to the rest of us. And that will take some time, but I'm sure by this evening, East Coast time, it will have been digested and begun to be disseminated to us. So I'd like to know, how will the disclosure of the evidence in Jack Smith's case against 45, what effect will that have on the electorate? How will that, how will it move the needle one way or the other? Will it move the needle one way or the other for the electorate? Because 45 really doesn't want it out. So it really makes me wonder, what is in there? Okay, so let's use the letter again, but this time it's for um, what Chutkin will unseal today. Snake at the bottom. Looking for the letter. Okay. What will Jack's released evidence do? Okay. I'm going to pull a clarifier or two, but we have the mountain, the house, the letter, the man, the birds. Just going to move these up, and I'm going to pull clarifiers on the final two cards. Okay. So again, our original line is the mountain, the house, the evidence that Chutkin's going to be releasing of Jack Smith's, the older man, and the birds. Okay. So this evidence has been, held on to for a while. I mean, we should have heard this a long time ago. 45 did get a week to appeal it, and then he appealed it in that really poor way, sort of not standard legal procedure way. But anyway, this speaks to the delay in it. Um, the House, it will affect his chances of getting into the White House. And I can mirror this second card with this, let's see, what do we have here? This fourth card, one, two, three, four, with the man. Um, what am I holding? Where's the letter? Where did it go? Oh, the letter's right here. Yeah. So this is the evidence, and we have, and that's in the middle, and I can mirror this card with this card. So this will affect 40, this is 45, affect 45 chances of getting into the White House. And it will create buzz, talk. And remember that I can mirror the first card with the fifth card in the line. So he tried and tried and tried to delay the buzz that these findings would create. Okay, so I drew some clarifiers on just the last two cards. So here's 45, and the clarifiers are the lily, the fish, and the whip. This is very interesting. So this is 45. This is his peace of mind. Excuse me. His peace of, you all tell me you like my voice. I don't. But anyway, this is his peace of mind. But look, his peace of mind is disturbed. There's going to be evidence about money, and there's going to be evidence of a nature that will disturb his emotions. He will feel beat up, whipped by this evidence that comes out. And how do I know? I can mirror Trump being beaten up, entertainment purposes only, Trump being beaten up by the information that's in Jack's findings. And then I said, well, let me look at the buzz itself. I have young woman, I have older woman, and I have star. I'll tell you what I think this means. It's kind of like a sense, the universe has a sense of humor. So what kind of buzz will it create? Well, it will hasten the day when women are running things, meaning Harris. I can, those are women. I can mirror this mountain with the star. You can't stop progress. You can't stop the future. He tried, but it didn't work. And in fact, whatever comes out will be helping Harris into the Oval Office instead of 45. So, I think this will be difficult for him, stressful for him. We see how he responds to stress. Again, like a cornered rat, he gets angry, combative, ugly, confused, delusional. So look for more of that because he really did not want these findings out. Okay. And then another thing I wanted to look at, you know, I have said many times that Harris will be the next president. That is what my cards show all the time. What I have also said is that you will not know the evening of the 5th nor the morning of the 6th. It will take a few days. Why? Because, as I've said, there are states that will refuse to certify the election. There just are red states that will refuse to certify. And that means that the election will be determined by the Supreme Court, I suspect. So I thought, well, let's look one more time, and probably it's not the first time, it won't be the last time that we look, but I thought let's look and see how will the court rule. Okay, how will the court rule? So for the court, I'm going to use the tower because it's in a, it's an official entity. Okay. All right. So how will the court rule? Should it come to a Supreme Court decision, which I think it will, how will the court rule? Okay. So remember, we're looking for the tower. Stands for the Supreme Court. Okay. There's our tower. So we have the stork, we have the young woman, we have the tower, we have the sun, we have the bear. Okay. And I think I just want to pull. Okay, well, I just pulled one clarifier. Okay, the stork, positive change, positive change. That's always what this card means. Women voters and the votes of people who care about women and their right to autonomy over their lives and bodies will be the deciders ultimately in this election. Here's the court. The sun, to me, finally, the sun is taking on its traditional role as being the best card in the deck. This is a happy, happy card for us. And then the bear. And I'm going to interpret this to mean the person who should win is the person who will win. And I drew one clarifier for this card. And this is the person who will be voted the president by the Supreme Court, however they do it. And guess what? It's Harris. So there you go. I say that to say, don't worry. Everything's going to be all right. It will be tense, and you'll forget what I said. and you'll freak out and your nights will be sleepless. Um, Mine will too, but in anticipation. Um, the Supreme Court will do the right thing. Uh, I think that's it for now. I'm trying to keep the videos, a little shorter than usual and hope I managed to do that. I don't really know because I didn't keep track of time. But thank you for all of your support, all of your kind words about my work, about my voice, about my manner. So I'm surprised and I'm delighted. Please keep your questions coming. I'm happy to answer them, and I will see you soon. Take care.